Hey, let me know if you can hear me on YouTube or Facebook. Looks like I'm having a little trouble connecting to the Facebook chat. Working on that now. I'll get that going here in just a second. I should be able to see the YouTubers. If you just put something in the chat, let me know that you can hear me. Okay, I don't. All right, thank you, Annette. Thank you, Beverly and Facebook. I do see you there. I just got to get it connected on my little system here. If you haven't already done it, we're going to get started here in about 3 minutes. Go grab a beverage, something to keep you nice and fresh and alert. Okay, let's see if I can get the Facebook folks. There we go. Facebook. Hey, there we go. I see all of you. Great. Thank you. Thank you for all your comments. Good. Thank you. That's helpful. We'll get started here in about 2 minutes. Last chance. Quick bathroom breaks. Otherwise, you can't leave. We used to do these live all the time, and people would leave to go use the restroom. Naturally, understandably so. I definitely won't know. However, I think I would know if you were. I wouldn't know if you used the restroom while using some kind of portable device and you took us all with you into the restroom. But that's just weird. So, don't do that. Let me see if my audio is a little better like this. Audio any better? Just turned up the volume a little bit. I want to make sure everybody's good volume-wise. Is that any better? Just cranked up the volume. Should be a little bit better audio. Please let me know. Okay, all right. Enough of you are saying that it's better. So good. Okay, we're going to get rolling. Hello and welcome, everyone. My name is Kyle McCauley. I'm one of the national presenters here at Einstein Retirement Workshops. And if you're not familiar with Einstein Retirement Workshops, we are a national educational organization. We do workshops on lots of different topics. We have a daily podcast. We have several different points of education, and our goal is to help retirees navigate this crazy landscape of retirement in today's day and age, which is sort of an unprecedented time to retire in many respects. So one of our most popular presentations is our Social Security filing workshop. So we know you'll get a lot out of today's presentation, as many have before you. Once upon a time, we would have done this workshop maybe in your, not in your backyard, but like a library near you or a community center, university, something like that. And so we would have seen you face to face. But since COVID and the travel restrictions and all of that, we've now stepped into doing these in this live stream format. We've gotten such great reviews about it and great feedback that it's something that I think we'll just continue to do. We may at some point do some live events again down the road, but for now, we have had, again, just a great experience in interacting in this live stream format. So we're honored that you're here, and we're glad to continue to do this for you. Okay, let's talk about our agenda for today. As soon as I get my clicker working. Oh, one more time. There we go. Okay, we're going to spend a little more than an hour on the topic of Social Security. We will immediately, right after that hour time period, go into a Q&A portion of our discussion. And before we do the Q&A, we will discuss, we know many of you are looking forward to getting the Social Security filing workbook. And so we will make sure that you are aware of how to request that. It is a physical workbook. We will mail you a copy. And so we'll talk about how you can request that workbook and get access to it. So we'll do that right at the end of the presentation. And immediately following that, we will have our question and answer session. My name is Kyle McCauley. I'm one of the national presenters here at Einstein Retirement Workshops. In addition to that, I want to share with you a little bit about my background so that you have an understanding of my perspective when I'm doing this workshop. Okay, so you just kind of have some insight into what are the types of thoughts that I'm having when I'm sharing the information from today's workshop. So I'm the managing partner of City Center Financial, which is a retirement planning firm. And I'm also a chartered retirement planning counselor, an accredited portfolio management advisor, and also a national Social Security advisor certified professional, as are all of the folks who are associated with our organization. They are all national Social Security advisor certified. It's just a requirement in order to provide good advice around Social Security. It's not something you can accidentally become an expert in. It does require education, and the National Social Security Advisor certification is the only nationally accredited certification. Okay. So I share all that about my background with you just so you understand that when I do this workshop, the thoughts that I'm having, the case studies that we talk about, these are folks that we have interacted with, and the experience that I share with you comes from helping now thousands of folks make high quality retirement planning and coordinating this Social Security decision within that retirement planning framework. So there again, I think you'll find this workshop to be very practical and applicable. We're able to give you advice because of our registered investment advisory firm, City Center Advisors. But we are not employed by, nor are we affiliated with the Social Security Administration. Again, the purpose of the workshop today is to give you advice about things that we know will be helpful to you as you're thinking about your benefits. It is not to sign you up for Social Security or something like that. Why is Social Security such a hot topic? We do this workshop fairly frequently, and we always have a couple hundred people that show up, generally speaking, and it's been going on for over a year now, and that's been pretty consistent. Why is that? Why are so many people engaged? Well, it's just the numbers, okay? There are 10,000 people turning 65 every day, and that works out to about 3.65 new folks who are qualifying for benefits like Social Security, Medicare, these big retirement age benefits that you've been paying these FICA taxes into over the last 20, 30, however many years you've been working. So a lot of people no longer working and paying into the system. They're now retiring and drawing funds out of the system. It certainly brings up issues, concerns of things like insolvency. Will there be a benefit left for me? We'll obviously talk about that. Currently today, 65% of middle income Americans derive more than 50% of their retirement income from their Social Security benefits. Now, that is obviously going to be true for those of you who haven't necessarily done a great job of saving other forms of retirement income, whether that be, accumulating a pension benefit or a 401k, putting dollars into those 403bs, 457s, TIAs, those types of accounts. Okay, other brokerage accounts, Roth accounts. If you haven't done a good job of putting dollars in those types of accounts, obviously Social Security is going to make up a big portion of your retirement income. But even for those of you who have, Social Security still is going to come up with a very large, probably more than 50% of your total retirement income once you're on the benefits. Now, this is true for two reasons. Number one, if we were in a room together and I asked how many of you were ever told at some point in your life, don't plan on Social Security, I'm guessing that many of you would raise your hand. I've done this live enough to know that maybe all of you would raise your hand. And so the benefits are still here, and in many cases they can be quite good. It is not uncommon for us to see a married couple between the both of them to be getting $40, $50, $60, sometimes as much as $70 or more $1,000 a year in terms of a joint benefit. So the benefits are here, and in many cases they can be quite good. Now, pension benefits are in trouble. I shouldn't maybe say it like that. There's reason to be concerned about pension benefits. And on top of that, you already know this for those of you who are participating in pension benefits that have been frozen. Unfortunately, we've seen some pension benefits that have been reduced after people have already started taking them. A little more rare, but it's unfortunately it does happen. And then many corporations just don't even offer a pension. If you've changed a job in the last 10 years, there's a good chance that that new job did not have a pension benefit. So pensions are very rare these days. And so it has elevated the importance of these Social Security dollars. Now, our last statistic is not on here to frighten you. It's here to highlight one of the key important reasons why Social Security is so important. 46% of Americans today pass away with less than $10,000 to their name. Now, again, I'm not giving you this statistic to frighten you, but it does help us frame in properly how we should be thinking about our Social Security benefits. Social Security, when framed in properly into your retirement planning needs, is framed in as retirement income insurance, or you could say longevity insurance. Now, you insure all the important financial things in your life: your house, your car, your health. Do you insure your retirement? The answer is probably yes. Okay, Social Security is a form of retirement income insurance. That could be important. Married couples, age 65, gentlemen, you have a 50% chance of living to 92. Ladies, you have a 50% chance of living to 97. People are living much longer than they ever expected to. My grandparents are a great example of this. My granddaddy just passed away last year in December, not COVID, just old age. And he was 92 years of age. Now, he hit the life expectancy. Now, normally you would say, okay, well, he hit the life expectancy, big deal. Except he had 4 heart attacks and 3 bypass surgeries before the age of 75. So, pretty impressive for him to make it all the way to 92. If you had asked him at the age of 80, hey, granddaddy, you think you'll make it to 90? Just pick 90, not even 92. He just smiled, shook his head, and said, I don't think so. So he's a good example of the value of medical technology and having a wife who makes you do stuff you don't want to do. Just kidding. Yeah, no, my granny is a large reason why he's still living. She's still alive. She just turned 90 this year. Okay. I'm wondering if I'm saying that right. I think she turned 91 this year. Yeah, because my granddaddy would have turned 93. So she's 91 now. Actually, now she's already had her birthday. So 91. I don't know if you can live as long as this gal, Ms. Kane Tanaka. She's 118 years of age. From Japan. Interestingly, of the last 5 oldest living people, 4 of them were from Japan. So, if you're thinking about relocating, might consider Japan. All right, let's talk about what we're going to focus on. We're going to talk about some basics about how your benefits work, how they're calculated. We'll discuss some strategies for those of you who are married. We'll talk about options for those who are divorced, options for those who are widowed. And if you fall asleep somewhere in the middle, please do wake up in time for taxes. I can tell you, our organization now having helped thousands of folks make high quality Social Security decisions. If there is one single item that is going to take 2 strategies that look kind of close and say, nope, that's no good, we got to file this way, it's going to be taxes. So I want to make sure we have enough time to cover that well for you. Okay, in order to qualify for a Social Security benefit, you must have 40 credits. A credit is earned in a calendar quarter, so you can earn up to 4 per year by having substantial earnings of at least $1,470. If you get all 40 credits, it's roughly 10 years worth of work. Well, exactly 10 years worth of work, actually. And so then you qualify for a benefit. If you are not sure if you qualify for a benefit, you need to go to ssa.gov, sign up for a My Social Security portal, get in there, and you will see a green boxes that run across your screen. And at the far right, it'll give you a green check mark, okay? I know this because I recently registered for my Social Security login so that I could tell Social Security to not mail me a paper statement. A bill in Congress right now, little fun fact, that is going to start mailing statements out to people on an annual basis so long as, I think you're over the age of 25 or something like that. So right now you have to be over 60 and not registered to the site. And I understand the principle of it, but think about the waste in dollars of mail. So if you don't have a portal at ssa.gov, I encourage you to get it and tell them, don't mail me a statement. Okay. All right. For those of you who love paper, have them mail you the statement. No problem. Once you've qualified for a benefit, the way that your benefit is calculated is by using the highest 35 years of indexed earnings. It is not the most recent 35 years that count towards your benefit. It's not the most consecutive 35 years that count towards your benefit. It's the highest 35 no matter when they occurred. So you could have had 15 years worth of work, taken 5 years off, picked up another 20 after that. 15 plus 20, that's your 35, no problem. That gap in the middle does not matter, okay? The second thing is it's the highest 35 years of indexed earnings, not the actual dollars. So if you were to look at your Social Security statement, on page 3 of your statement, you would see a table that has all of the years of earnings that you've had over the last 10, 20, 30, 40, however many years you've been working. Now, those dollars that are showing up there are the actual dollars that you earned. They have not been indexed for inflation. If you want to know what Social Security is using to calculate your benefit, you would need to take those dollar amounts and plug them into an indexing table. In our Social Security filing workbook that we're going to mail you a copy of, there are indexing tables in there. So you could take your income in years gone by and see what they're worth in terms of today's dollars for how Social Security is doing your benefit calculation. Now, here's an example. Let's say you earned $20,000 in 1980. What you would do is you'd take that $20,000, you put it on the indexing table for 1980, and you would see that you should multiply that by 4 and change, meaning $20,000 in 1980 is worth a little more than $80,000 in today's dollars. The reason why I highlight this for you is that sometimes people mistakenly assume that their work today is necessarily increasing their benefit for the future. Not necessarily. You must be replacing a lower income year in the past, but not dollar for dollar after those dollars have been indexed for inflation. So if I'm working today and earning $60,000 and my lowest income year in the past is $20,000 in 1980, then I'm not replacing that with my work today. So I'm not increasing my benefit. Now, I'm not decreasing my benefit. I'm just not getting an increase for my work, okay? In order to increase your benefit, you must be replacing a lower income year in the past. Now, an easy way to replace a lower income year in the past is if you don't have all 35 years. Let's say you qualify for a benefit, you have 10, but you only have 25. Well, what Social Security is going to do is they're going to take those 25 years, index them for inflation, and then they're going to add 10 zeros when they calculate your benefit. So any additional work that you're doing today is replacing a zero and should have a pretty good size impact in terms of what it'll mean to your benefit for the future. Two primary provisions that can decrease your Social Security benefit. The first one is the government pension offset. This applies when you do not have a Social Security benefit, but you do have access to a spousal benefit, and you also have what is known as a non-covered pension. A non-covered pension is a pension that you're entitled to from working for an employer where you did not pay any Social Security tax, but you did earn a pension. When you receive those pension dollars, 2/3 of whatever you're receiving counts against the spousal Social Security, and it can push that spousal Social Security all the way down to zero. If you have your own Social Security and a non-covered pension, you are dealing with the windfall elimination provision. This one's a little more complicated because it has to do with how many years of substantial earnings you have on the Social Security system, but it can't reduce your Social Security to zero. You could be getting a very small benefit, but it can't reduce it down to nothing. The calculations for both the GPO and the WEP are in your workbook. I think you know this, but if you don't, you've been paying a lot of money into the Social Security system. 6.2% of your pay has been going into this system over the last 10, 20, 30, 40, however many years you've been working. Your employer matched that for a total of 12.4% of your pay, again, over all the years that you were working. Unless, of course, you're self-employed, then you got to pay both. Now, the system is a pay-as-we-go system. When you pay your FICA taxes on your earned income, those dollars flowing into the system are leaving the system right now to pay current recipients. We are funded on that strategy through the year 2035. We've been operating in the red since 2010, which means that all those treasury bonds that the Social Security Trust Fund purchased are currently being sold in order to fund current benefits. In 2036, it's estimated that we're funded for roughly 75 cents on the dollar thereafter. What will Social Security do to fix this problem? Because they will have to fix it. Well, what they won't do is they won't cut your benefits in 2036. I can say that very confidently for two reasons. Number one, Social Security law states that once you hit the age of 55, they may not touch your benefits. They cannot reduce them. Number two, you have experienced a reduction already, and you can assure your children and grandchildren that they will experience a similar type of reduction to what you had. For example, all of your parents had a full retirement age of 65. The oldest of you, have a full retirement age of 66. Maybe the majority of you attending and watching now have a full retirement age of 66 and some number of months. Now, some of you are young enough to have a full retirement age of 67. That process of moving from 65 to 66 to 67 was a fixing process of the Social Security system. So they'll do this to your kids, right? Maybe they'll take away the 62 filing, or they'll push full retirement age up to 70. We don't know what they're going to do, but they'll do something to fix it that will be a modified version of a reduction of benefits. They won't actually, like cross out the number and write a lower number. They won't do it like that. They'll just delay the time that your children and grandchildren are eligible to receive it. Okay. I know that many of you do have a full retirement age of 66 and some number of months, but just for ease of explanation, we're going to assume for a minute that everyone has a full retirement age of 66. If you file for benefits at your full retirement age, you are eligible to receive 100% of your primary insurance amount. Your primary insurance amount is estimated for you, that big bold number in the upper right corner on the front page of your Social Security statement. That number is your estimated primary insurance amount. If that number says $2,000 and you file at your full retirement age, you should receive $2,000. If you would like to file early, you're allowed. You can file as early as the age of 62. If you do that, though, you do get a reduced benefit. So how much is it reduced? Well, it's reduced by 25%, down to 75% of your primary insurance amount, meaning $2,000 has been turned into $1,500. Now, if you would like to delay past full retirement age, you can do that and be rewarded. You can earn up to 8% per year in delayed retirement credits, simple interest, not compound. So you could turn a $2,000 benefit by age 70, $2,640. 3 distinct benefits you can file for. Number 1, the retired workers benefit. This is a benefit that you're entitled to based upon your own work history. Spousal benefits are benefits you're entitled to based upon a spouse's work history or an ex-spouse's work history. And then widow or survivor benefits are benefits you're entitled to based upon a deceased spouse's work history or a deceased ex-spouse's work history. The last time Social Security law was changed was October of 2015. Basically what they did is they took away all the fun stuff. So if you've heard of things like file and suspend, get a lump sum check, file off my spouse, switch later, all of that is gone, with one exception. If you happen to be in this rapidly diminishing group of people born before January 2nd of 1954 who have not yet filed for a benefit and have access to a spousal or an ex-spousal benefit. If you're in that group, you can do what is known as a restricted application, file for your spousal benefits first, and switch to your own at a later date. If you're in that group or anyone else, there's just a couple of other things to bear in mind about how you will file for benefits. Number 1, if you file for benefits and you wish you hadn't done that, so long as you're within the first year, 365 days, you may rescind your application one time only. If you do that, Social Security will reset your benefit as though you never filed, but any dollars you've received thus far do have to be paid back before they'll reset your benefit. So let's think of an example where you might not want to rescind your application, but you might want to do this other thing, and that is suspend your benefits, telling Social Security, I know you're paying me, but please stop. Why would you ever want to do that? Well, let's say you were laid off from a job and you are now reemployed. Okay, maybe COVID. You got laid off from your job, but you were recently reemployed, and so you're going to go back to work. Great. But you have Social Security. You don't really need it anymore. What could you do? Well, you can suspend your benefits at any time for any reason, and Social Security will stop paying you, and you'll earn any increases, those delayed retirement credits, from the point at which you suspend until you file again in the future. Let's talk about spousal benefits. In order to qualify for a spousal benefit, you need to have been married for at least 1 year. The spouse that you're planning to file off of must have filed their benefit in order for you to have access. You cannot qualify for your own benefit that's more than 50% of your spouse's. So if my spouse has a $2,000 a month benefit, half of that is $1,000. If I have my own benefit of $1,200, there's no spousal available to me. It's not like I can get my $1,200 plus part of hers. No. Up to 50% of your spouse's primary insurance amount, not their benefit amount. So if John's primary insurance amount is $2,000, Jane is eligible for half of that at her full retirement age, $1,000. Spousal benefits reduce and increase differently than your own. If I have my own benefit and I file at 66, I get $1,000, okay, of 1,000. If my own benefit's 1,000 and I file at full retirement age, I get 1,000. If I'm not filing for my own, it's a spousal benefit and it's $1,000, I still get $1,000 at my full retirement age, okay, my full retirement age. If I file early, though, at 62, I'm allowed on my own, it turns to $750. But if it's not my own, it's a spousal, it turns into $700. Extra penalties for spouses who file early, if you want to think about it like that. Or you could say spousal benefits are reduced on a faster schedule if filing early. Also, there are no delayed retirement credits for spousal benefits. My benefit of $1,000 can turn into $1,320. But if my wife has $2,000 and my spousal's the higher one, and I want to file that spousal, I still can only get $1,000 if I file as late as 70. So $1,000 is the top. So spouses don't delay past full retirement age. Now, the problem will come is, remember, I have to wait for my spouse to file my own. So maybe she wants to delay till 70 and we're the same age. Yes, I also have to wait till 70. Okay, so there's nothing in it for me to delay till 70, but I have to because she did. Okay, another common example would be I have my own $500 a month benefit. My wife has $2,000. She wants to delay till 70. I don't want to delay. There's nothing in it for me. What should I do? Well, I should file my own at full retirement age, collect $500 a month, and then switch at 70 to the spousal when she files hers. Okay, I'll just go from 500 to the full 1,000. For my married couples, when one of you passes, only one benefit remains, and it's always the higher of the two. So again, remember, when you think about these Social Security benefits, longevity insurance, but not just for you, also for your surviving spouse. Only one benefit remains, always the higher of the two. Two most common mistakes we see married couples make. Number one, higher wage earner files early. Why would that be a mistake? Well, if that higher wage earner files early and happens to die young, he or she could be leaving their spouse, their surviving spouse, with a very low benefit, maybe for 10, 20 years without them. So very important to remember that higher wage earner, if anyone's going to delay, it's going to be that person because we want to maximize that survivor benefit. The other mistake we see is that both spouses delay past full retirement age. It just almost never works out. Generally speaking, one of you will file early to some degree or another, and one of you will delay to some degree or another. Let's talk about divorced spouse benefits. In order to qualify for a divorced spouse benefit, you need to have been married for 10 years in a row to the same person. Married 5 years, divorced, remarried, even to the same person, 7 years, divorced. 5 plus 7 does not equal 12. One of those two stints has to be at least 10 years. So I know you didn't come on here for marriage counseling, but if you needed a reason to hang on, there you go. Same benefit amounts in terms of extra penalties for spouses for divorce benefits when you file early, and no increases for delaying apply to the ex-spousal benefits, as did also the spousal benefits. One major difference between ex benefits and spousal benefits is that you are independently entitled so long as you've been divorced for at least 2 years. So in the example I gave earlier, if my wife delays till 70, I also have to delay till 70. But if we've been divorced for at least 2 years, she can delay till 70 all she wants. I can file whenever I want to. If you were born before January 2nd of 1954 and you have not yet filed a Social Security benefit and you happen to have a marriage that lasted more than 10 years, the restricted application could be particularly advantageous to you. Okay. I need to apologize a little bit, but I am really not feeling well, and it's starting to get worse. I've had a bad headache for about the last hour, and I took something to try and help, but it's not really helping. So I'm starting now to feel just a touch nauseous. So I apologize, but I'm really starting to have a hard time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to speed up just a little bit because I do want to make sure I touch on all the big points. But I'm going to skip over some of the stuff that's kind of quirky and fun, but probably doesn't apply to too many of you. Okay. So I apologize for having to do this, but otherwise I'm not sure I'm going to get through it. So, again, I apologize, but I'm going to touch all the big highlights. Okay. Common questions we hear from those who are divorced. I'm divorced. My ex is going to file off of me. Will that affect me somehow? No. I'm divorced. I've also remarried. My ex is going to file off of me. My new spouse is going to file off of me. Will their benefits affect each other? No, they will not. I'm divorced. My ex is going to file off of me. My new spouse is going to file off of me. And I've managed to fit a few 10-year marriages into my lifetime, and they're also going to file off of me. Is that going to affect things? No, it's allowed. Okay, as many 10-year marriages as you can fit in, you can do this. And if you happen to die young, they can all, maybe a little stress, they can all get widow benefits as well. It is allowed. Okay, if you file on your ex, will they know? No, they will not. Okay, so you can file on your ex. It doesn't affect them. The only way they know is if you tell them. Okay, for those of you who are widowed, you get to file as early as the age of 60. You're the only group who can do that. You must have remained unmarried until the age of 60. So if you're widowed prior to 60, but you get married before you hit 60, then you are going to lose those widow benefits. So be very careful of that. The very first workshop I ever did, gal in the back raised her hand and said, I need to delay the wedding. And in fact, she did. Okay, so if you've attended before, I can tell more details, but let's just keep going for now. But she needed to because she was going to miss out on a lot of benefits. Very important for her to delay the wedding in that case. I told this part's too good. So she asked her priest if they could just do the religious part and sign stuff later, and he said no. I'm a religious person. I think that's so funny. All right. Anyway, you must have been married a minimum of 9 months prior to the death of your spouse in order for those widow benefits to be retained. Now, special exceptions apply to this. This is only to prevent deathbed marriages. If you were widowed and it was unexpected, wasn't like they had a terminal illness, then you can get a special release. Okay, widow case study. I'm going to do an abbreviated explanation of this. Again, I'm sorry for having to do this, but I'm having a hard time. Okay, John never elected for benefits. He died at 64. His full retirement age amount was $2,150. Jane was 5 years younger. She attended one of our workshops. She's trying to figure out what to do. She was 59 when John died, but she's 60 now, so she's got widow benefits. She's trying to figure out what to do. She has her own work history where she can get $1,197. Okay, if Jane files for those widow benefits right away, she'll get $1,537. If she collects from 60 to 80, she gets $461,000 over her lifetime. If she uses a different strategy where she starts at maybe her age 62, it's $1,197. And if she then switches to her widow benefit at 67, so she could start with her own and switch to widow. She doesn't have to just do widow. So if she does it that way, it's $77,000 more over her lifetime to do it like that. But it could be even better. She could actually go ahead and start for those widow benefits at get $1,537 at 60, and then switch to her own maximized benefit at 70. So there again, with widow benefits, you get flexibility. You can start with your own, switch to the widow. Start with the widow, switch to your own. Okay, whatever makes the most sense. If she does it like that, it's more than $100,000 more over her lifetime. Okay, so very important. Okay, let's talk about the earnings test. The earnings test applies whenever you file for Social Security prior to reaching your full retirement age. If you file for Social Security prior to reaching your full retirement age, they will ask you, what is your earnings? The amount of income they don't care about is $18,960. The minute you go above the $18,960, they start caring, okay? They care about $1 for every $2 that you earn above the limit. Let's say your income is $58,960. What happens then? Well, they take the $18,960 off the top. It leaves you with $40,000 above. It's a 1 for 2, so it means that you're ineligible to receive $20,000 of Social Security. If you have a Social Security benefit that's $2,000, $2,000 goes into $20,000 10 times. So from January through October, the first 10 months of the year, they don't pay you. And then they'll pay you a $2,000 check in November and December. Some people do mistakenly assume that going above these limits means you'll still get a check all year, just be reduced. No, they simply don't pay you anything till you've paid back what you owe. Okay. Earnings test. In the year you turn your full retirement age is $50,520. It's a 1 for 3, and this almost never applies to anyone. Okay, let's talk about taxes. Taxes is very complicated. If you think my head hurts, your head's about to really hurt. Okay. 33-page report to tell us everything that we need to know about how you pay taxes on Social Security. Okay, if we'd all like to have a headache together, just go download this, publication 915 from the IRS. We can all have joint misery. All right. Okay. There are some, this might be a little tongue-in-cheek, but there are helpful things. This is helpful to me. This worksheet is in this document, and it details out for you the 19-step process that you must go through to figure out how much taxes you will owe on your Social Security benefits. We're not going to go over all 19 steps, but I want to give you some sort of big picture highlights. Line 1 of that worksheet is where you put your provisional income number. Provisional income is 3 things. Your adjusted gross income, which is all the sources of income that you have, okay? Doesn't matter the source, everything. Capital gains, K1s, ordinary income, dividend income, everything. Plus 50% of the Social Security benefits you're receiving, plus municipal bond interest income. Those 3 things added together is your provisional income. If that number is more than $25,000 and you're single, you will be taxed on your Social Security. You can be taxed on up to 85% of your benefits if you go over $34,000. Married couples, if you go over $32,000, you start paying tax. If you go over $44,000, you could be paying tax on up to 85% of your benefits. The question is how much tax? Because this is not the tax amount. In fact, Social Security is technically very tax advantageous unless you mess up and have too much of other types of income. Well, the how much tax question is where it gets complicated. I'll give you one example. Let's say that you're cruising along through retirement. Everything's going well, right? You've got Social Security. You have your pension maybe, or some income from your investment accounts. And so you've got all that coming in, and you're cruising along through retirement, and everything's going fairly well. And you have done things to keep your spending low because you're very conscientious. You want to make sure you have enough money to last you for your whole life, and you can get through retirement and call it a success. You don't want to be a burden to your family. You want to be able to take care of yourself should things happen like long-term care or something like that. And so you're going to do your best here. And so you cruise along through retirement, and then one day you wake up and it's your 72nd birthday. Happy birthday. Now you turn into having required minimum distributions on all of your 401k, IRA, 403b, 457, TIAs, TSPs, all of that stuff, okay? If you have a lot of savings in those types of accounts and you have to pull a required minimum distribution from them, you could be pulling a very large amount. Now, if you pull a very large amount from these accounts and you are above these limits, it goes right to your tax bracket. But what you don't necessarily realize is that when you're above these limits, you can also be adding taxes to Social Security. And if it's so much that maybe you're used to being in a 12% tax bracket, but now you bump yourself up to a 22. Also, because of how it works, you're not getting more money from Social Security, you're just adding taxes. So if you're in the 22% tax bracket and you're adding taxes to Social Security, 22% from just that RMD plus an additional 22% from taxes added to Social Security, that's an effective tax rate of as much as 44%. So you have to be very careful when you're planning out your income to deal with the fact that Social Security will be taxable. Try to do the planning necessary to have it be advantageous, not disadvantageous. Whew. I made it, sort of. All right, let's go to a case study that I think will be very helpful to you, okay? Clients are 64 and 62. Between the two of them, they have $34,000 of Social Security. They're going to start with their retirement with $752,000 in 401k and IRA assets. They're going to earn 6% on those investments annually. They need to spend $70,000 a year, and that's going to increase by 3% per year to keep up with inflation. They'll live to 86 and 89 respectively. Okay? You may be different than that. You may have more, in which case you need to pay attention because more in terms of savings, 752. You really need to pay attention because Social Security is going to help solve a tax problem here. You may have less, which you need to pay attention because they have a running out of money problem. If you're in the neighborhood, pay attention for both reasons because these people have a tax problem and a running out of money problem. And we're going to show how Social Security can help solve this concern. Okay, if they file Social Security early, covers about half of their income need. The amount of the orange line above the red line, or excuse me, the amount of the orange lines above the blue lines is what they have to pull from their investment accounts. The red line is what they need to spend, increasing with inflation. The orange line above the red line is the amount they're paying in taxes. Because of that double taxation process I briefly described, you'll notice that the taxes aren't increasing linearly, they're increasing exponentially. Also, the amount of dollars that they're pulling from their investments and to cover those taxes eventually causes them to run out of money 14 years too soon. Now, the only difference between this slide and the next slide is a change in the Social Security filing strategy. No advanced tax planning implemented, no fancy stuff with changing investment strategies or anything like that. The only change is a change in the Social Security strategy. If this couple will pull all their income from their 401k accounts in the early years and then file Social Security on an optimized schedule, the amount they need to pull from their investments drops down a lot. Also, the amount of the orange lines above the red line is very small. I don't know if you can see it. There's a little bit there, but not much. It's not uncommon when we do pre-planning for folks to get them in a position where they would be paying very little and sometimes even no taxes once those Social Security benefits are triggered. Remember, Social Security is technically tax advantageous so long as you manage the other sources of income so they're not too high. Now, you'll notice also that because we drop their taxes down and their withdrawals down, their portfolio lasts the rest of their lifetime. If we compare the taxes, you'll see that in the optimized strategy, the blue lines, they do pay a little more in taxes in those early years, but look at all the excess taxes being paid, the orange lines above the blue lines, simply for filing Social Security early. Now, they stop paying taxes eventually, but they're broke, so it's not a good deal. Okay. They get $186,000 more out of Social Security by optimizing their strategy. Their portfolio lasts 14 more years, and they save $35,000 in taxes, even though they were not paying any taxes for 14 years. So what a great deal. All right. A few things about your statement. Number one, your Social Security statement does not have any future cost of living adjustments applied. It assumes that you work till 62, retire and file immediately, or till full retirement age, retire and file immediately, or till 70 and retire and file immediately. It's your work record only, no spousal coordination, and then obviously and certainly no advice. Okay. Wow, I really zoomed through that. About 13 minutes shorter than normal. Okay, well, I am sorry to have to do it so quickly. I know I didn't do the best job explaining the tax issue, especially as I normally do. But I appreciate you giving me some grace on that. I hope that you guys are good there. Okay, so few things about this. We're going to offer to you a personalized Social Security analysis. This Social Security analysis is complimentary. It's at no cost to you if you would like it. I appreciate all the kind words in the comments. Thank you for that. But if you, after hearing our presentation today, you go, gosh, you know what? I really can't imagine trying to figure all this out without doing a deeper dive into my specific Social Security planning needs, then this analysis will be really helpful to you. The reason why we provide it at no cost is because it is our experience that it gives us a very good opportunity to earn the right, or maybe I should say the privilege, or maybe the honor of serving you with other retirement planning needs that you would have. So if you think something like this could be helpful to you, let me tell you a little bit about what's in it. Personalized strategies to you specific to your needs, detailing out for you exactly when to file, how much you'll receive, giving you line by line. We'll give you multiple strategies that look just like this to give you a sense as to what strategies are going to make the most sense for you. We'll do a break-even analysis that will tell you, what's the right way to file and to help you see the benefits or the drawbacks between different strategies. And the big thing that would set this analysis apart for you that would really make you say, wow, I'm really glad I got this, would be our retirement income cash flow and tax analysis. So this part of the analysis is also at no cost, but you have to say, yeah, I need to coordinate other retirement income streams to my Social Security, or I need to deal with taxes on my Social Security. If either of those are true, this is a screen capture of specifically the reports that we generate for you, okay? So we do a detailed analysis and we look for planning opportunities like Roth conversion amounts. How much should we be doing? It's line by line, very detailed. We developed the software. It's called Retirement Defender. I put a lot of time, effort, and energy into it myself personally. And it's because clients asked me questions I couldn't answer, and I don't like that. So we developed the software to do that. Okay. Help you know the difference. Is it a benefit to do a Roth conversion strategy? Which Social Security filing is going to give you the best outcome? We show you all that. Okay, so I want to get you the workbook, sendworkbook.com. This is the same website that you go to request your Social Security analysis, if that would be helpful to you. A couple of quick things, and then we're going to wrap up here. Again, I apologize. I probably should not take questions. I feel horribly bad because I know many of you are here for the first time, and I love doing the Q&A part, and I just don't think I can handle it right now, so I apologize. I'd love to see you at a future event to answer your questions and to do all of that. Sendworkbook.com, though, is where you'll go to request the workbook. It's a physical workbook. We'll mail you a copy. The next thing that we will do is we'll have the opportunity for you to request that analysis if you'd like it. Okay, a couple of quick points of disclosure. My firm, City Center Financial, does now own and operate the Einstein Retirement Workshops brand. We used to be separate entities, but we aren't anymore, okay? So Einstein Retirement Workshops, owned and operated by City Center Financial. If you interact with our team, we can help you no matter your location. It doesn't matter what part of the country you are in. We will interact with you over a video conference session. We will be on camera. Whether you're on camera is up to you. All of our advisors are fiduciary advisors, fully licensed and certified, and they also are National Social Security Advisor certified, so fully qualified, also trained by me personally. Okay, if all of you, I feel a little funny that if too many of you say yes to the analysis, I'll feel like normally my wonderful presentation, I don't have to do it that wonderfully. So in any case, we'll see what happens. I do hope that you found this presentation to be very helpful. Again, I'm sorry for the abbreviated version, and I'm sorry that I can't handle doing the Q&A today. But I do hope that you found today's presentation to be really helpful. And there again, if you're going to interact with our team, you need a deeper dive into your specific stuff. I promise you they'll be really able and ready to help you. And we want to make sure that you're maximizing what you get out of this system. These are your dollars. You've paid for it. I think you know that. But if you don't, let me tell you, you've paid for it. So do what you can to maximize what you get out of this system. If we can serve and help you with that, we're very honored to do so. And with that, I'm going to wrap up. Thank you. Thank you so much. All right. Have a great night, everyone.